the way securitization works is I become a lender, and I'm a mortgage company, not covered by any bank regulator. And I make mortgage loans to other people here. But instead of waiting for them to pay me back over a 15 or 30-year period, I package up the right to be paid back, and I sell it to other people. That's a mortgage-backed security. That's securitization. So I no longer get paid back by you. I have sold the right to be paid back by you to somebody else. And a very simple point that seems to have escaped society: most of us are much more careful with our own money than we are with other people's. If I have to have you pay me back, I apparently pay more attention to whether or not you can pay me back than if I can sell that right to a lot of other people. That's really at the heart of what we are talking about. So you got loans made by people who weren't regulated, outside of the Community Investment Act, and who didn't have to worry about getting paid back. They would sell them to other people. Now there was this assumption that house prices would go up and up and up, which was inaccurate, but you know, that could have been made before. So there were two areas where we lacked regulation. Because one was in the mortgages being made by non-banks outside the regulatory system. The other was in the area of what you did with the securitized, with the securities, the securitized mortgages. Because people were then allowed to sell them and buy them and go back and forth outside the regulated system. And this is the problem. Now, securitization, by the way, does good. We should not try to abolish it. Because if I'm a source of lending is very important in our economy. I mean, we've seen this, you know, part of the problem the automobile companies have is, as credit has dried up, part of it was some bad decisions that were made, but part of it, because if you notice, all the automobile companies worldwide are having these problems now. Not just, we should just pick on Detroit. The foreign manufacturers have problems. If it becomes hard to get credit, you don't sell cars, because very few people buy cars for cash. There are a few. They generally want dark windows and extra getaway and a few other compartments where you can stack things. But we need credit to sell cars. And this is the problem. Securitization helps. If I can lend you money and then sell the right to be paid back, I don't have to wait for you to pay me back to lend again. So securitization increases our ability to lend to each other. But only if the money's going to get paid back. And that's the problem. There were no regulations. The bullets in this massacre of our economy were the subprime loans that shouldn't have been granted. The guns were the various sophisticated instruments. First we had mortgage-backed securities. And then we had the packages of the securities, derivatives of the securities. So you got to collateralize debt obligations square that were being sold. And you had things that were off the balance sheet. And you had a whole range of activity going on, a whole set of very sophisticated financial activity involving these securities outside of regulation. Interesting. If you think about it, years ago, you were told if you were adventurous, you're willing to put your money at risk, you bought stocks. If you want to be safe and sound, you bought bonds. They were loans. That's flipped thanks to securitization. The debt area has become the most volatile. That's where more than volatile stocks have been hurt, but not, you haven't had the total collapses that you've had in the debt area. Now, this is where you get the difference between the parties. The Democrats believed that you should regulate the issuance of mortgages. And you may have seen a couple of months ago a very poignant moment when Alan Greenspan admitted that he had been fundamentally wrong about the market. And here's the specific issue. In 1994, and this was the last time the Democrats controlled Congress before the previous Congress, the Democrats in Congress passed a bill, and Bill Clinton signed it, that said to the Federal Reserve, mortgages are now being granted by non-bank institutions, and we worry about those, regulate those. Would you please stop these non-bank, unregulated institutions from issuing mortgages that can't be paid back? Because again, securitization will lead you of the discipline. And Alan Greenspan said, this is undisputed, he's acknowledged this, no, I won't do that, because that's regulation and the market knows better than I. The problem we had was in 1995, the Republicans took power. So Greenspan then had the autonomy and the authority not to do that. That was the first mistake. By the way, today, those bad loans are much less likely to be made because Chairman Ben Bernanke has issued rules that Greenspan refused to issue using exactly the same authority Greenspan refused to issue to block some of the bad loans. But we thought that wasn't enough.